Kimi Antonelli has won 3 consecutive Formula One races from pole position, a feat that has never been achieved before in the history of the sport. The 18-year-old Mercedes driver now sits 20 points clear of his teammate George Russell at the top of the Drivers' Championship standings, and the paddock is taking notice. Two-time world champion Emerson Fittipaldi told the official Formula One podcast Beyond the Grid that this level of performance from a driver in just his second season is extraordinary, but he also made clear that sustaining it will require more than raw pace. The defining storyline of this season so far has been Kimi Antonelli's rapid ascent. 3 wins in a row, all from pole, all in just his second year of Formula One. The numbers alone are staggering. But the conversation in the paddock has quickly shifted to what this means for his teammate. George Russell came into 2026 widely expected to be Mercedes' natural title contender. That narrative has been complicated by Antonelli's form. Ex-IndyCar driver and current F1 pundit James Hinchcliffe addressed this directly on the official F1 Nation podcast, identifying the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal as a critical benchmark race for Russell. "If we go to Canada," Hinchcliffe said, "and all of a sudden Kimi's ahead again, that's when the 63 side of the garage needs to start, maybe not panicking, but really coming up with a plan. Trying to find what you have to do to not just slow him down, but speed yourself up." Hinchcliffe's framing is important. Russell won in Canada last year, meaning Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is a track where he has demonstrated outright pace. If Antonelli beats him there too, the gap in their performances this season becomes increasingly difficult to explain away as circuit-specific variants. For Russell, Montreal is not just a race, it is a measuring stick. Emerson Fittipaldi knows something about being thrown into a championship fight as a young driver. After Jochen Rindt's fatal accident at the 1970 Italian Grand Prix, Fittipaldi was thrust into the Lotus #1 role, having completed just 3 race starts. He went on to win the World Championship 2 years later. Speaking on the Beyond the Grid podcast, Fittipaldi drew on that lived experience when assessing Antonelli's situation. With the Italian sitting 20 points clear in the standings, Fittipaldi made clear that raw speed alone will not be enough to carry him to the title. "I think Kimi Antonelli, if he really has the full support from Mercedes from Toto, he can succeed," Fittipaldi said. "He has to feel these people behind him, supporting him on the World Championship. That includes, as Fittipaldi noted, priority on any new performance upgrades that come through. Should Mercedes face a situation this season where development parts are limited, who receives them first will have significant championship implications. Italy has not had a Formula One world champion since Alberto Ascari in 1953. Antonelli, if the team mobilizes fully around him, has a genuine chance to end that 7-3-year wait." Away from the championship battle, Formula One's governing body has reached an agreement in principle on modifications to the 2027 power unit regulations, and the changes are significant. The FIA confirmed that the revised package will shift the power split from the near 50/50 balance between internal combustion engine and electrical power that defines the current 2026 cars toward a ratio closer to 60-40 inches favor of the internal combustion engine. The specific measures agreed include a nominal 50 kilowatts increase in engine power, an increase in fuel flow rate, and a 50 kilowatts decrease in ERS output. The driver feedback behind this decision has been consistent since the season opened. Formula One's new sustainable fuel cars require intense energy management across every lap, and that demand has been a source of frustration across the grid. The changes agreed for 2027 are a direct response to that feedback. However, the FIA has been clear that these are not finalized changes. Further discussion within the sport's technical working groups is required before the final 2027 package is formally agreed and submitted to the FIA World Motorsport Council for sign-off. The direction of travel, though, is now established. More combustion engine, less electrical dependency. One of the direct beneficiaries of Formula One's performance monitoring framework heading into the Canadian Grand Prix is Honda. The Japanese manufacturer is set to receive additional development and upgrade opportunities under the sport's power unit parity rules, a regulation designed to ensure competitive balance between engine suppliers The framework monitors performance across 3 defined periods each season, with development allocations granted based on the performance gap recorded. The FIA has further reinforced this system by increasing the spending allowance for manufacturers running 10% or more behind the performance benchmark to $11 million USD, a one-off development budget boost, accompanied by additional power unit test bench time. The timing matters for Honda specifically. As Motorsport.com has documented, the brand is in the process of rapidly rebuilding its research and development capabilities following its official exit from Formula One at the end of 2021, a withdrawal that saw its power unit team significantly reduced. Honda is now working toward a full works partnership with Aston Martin, and the additional funding and testing time represent a meaningful accelerant for that program. After a promising double points finish in Miami, Williams team principal James Vowles has been candid about the challenge ahead in Montreal. The British team's 2026 campaign began in difficult circumstances. Their FW48 arrived at pre-season testing more than 20 kilograms overweight, and they have been working to claw back performance ever since. Miami offered encouragement, with upgrades combining with circuit-specific characteristics to yield a result above what the car's pure pace might suggest. But Vowles is not getting ahead of himself. Speaking following the Miami Grand Prix, he acknowledged that rivals will arrive in Canada with their own updates. The reality is, other teams Mercedes, Audi, maybe Haas will bring performance at the same time, Vowles said. So it's just whether what we're bringing is sufficient to maintain ground against those 3 teams, and it's hard to predict that right now. Williams' development plan covers 3 fronts simultaneously: weight reduction, aerodynamic improvement, and vehicle dynamics refinement. Vowles expressed satisfaction with the pipeline, but the midfield fight in 2026 is intensifying race by race, and consistent point scoring before the summer break remains the benchmark target. Formula One paused to remember one of its own last week as thousands gathered in Padua, northern Italy, to bid farewell to Alex Zanardi. The former F1 driver and Paralympic champion passed away on May 1st at the age of 59, following a long recovery from severe injuries sustained in a 2020 handbike road race in which he was struck by an oncoming truck. Zanardi's journey through motorsport and beyond it is one of sport's most remarkable stories. His Formula One career spanned 41 race starts between 1991 and 1999 with Jordan, Minardi, Lotus, and Williams. Then in 2001, at Germany's Lausitzring during an American kart race, he suffered a catastrophic crash that resulted in the amputation of both legs. Rather than retreat, Zanardi rebuilt. He became a hand cycling competitor, ultimately winning 4 Paralympic gold medals and becoming a global symbol of human resilience. The tributes from across the motorsport community reflected not just what he achieved athletically, but who he was as a person. As one speaker at his memorial in Padua put it, Alex the athlete is important, but also important is Alex the man, because with his irony, his humility, he was able to communicate about important subjects and change compassion and understanding. That is the most important thing. The Formula One community extends its deepest condolences to the Zanardi family. This week has delivered a clear picture of where Formula One stands heading into Montreal. Kimi Antonelli's 3 consecutive pole-to-win performances have reframed the Mercedes narrative entirely, with George Russell now facing his most important qualifying test of the season. The governing body's agreement in principle on 2027 power unit changes signals a meaningful shift back toward combustion engine dominance, while Honda's additional development funding provides real momentum for the Aston Martin partnership. Williams, meanwhile, have demonstrated they can compete in the midfield, but acknowledge the competition is only getting sharper. And through all of it, the sport paused to honor Alex Zanardi, a man who proved that what happens after motorsport can be just as defining as what happens during it. I'll continue bringing you only verified Formula One statistics, real driver interviews, and documented race analysis. No clickbait, no speculation, just the facts about what's actually happening in Formula One based on official sources and verified information.